Hi everyone, and welcome back to Story Station. Today we have a very exciting story for you. We're going to be discovering things underneath the water. All right, but before we do that, we do a few special things to get ready for our new book. You got it. We get our bodies ready to take in our new story, and then we get to sing our special song together, and then we'll jump right into reading. First, let's put on our looking eyes. Make 2 circles in front of you, just like this. Put on your looking eyes. Make sure they're focused. And today, let's actually put on our special under the water goggles, right? Let's put on our water goggles. Nice. And now, let's make sure we can hear the story. Let's put on our listening ears. Make 2 C's in front of you, just like this. Put them up to your ears. Lock them in place. Nicely done. And now, let's turn up our voice box. Make a pinch in front of you, just like this. Put it up to your voice box and turn the volume all the way up. Awesome job. Now that our voice box is on, we get to sing our very special song together, and it's all of the parts of the book. It starts off with the titles on the front. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The titles on the front, the titles on the front. Hi-ho-a-biblio, the titles on the front. Now let's look for some words inside the book, because the author writes the words. The author writes the words. The author writes the words. Hi-ho-a-biblio, the author writes the words. And the illustrator draws. The illustrator draws. The illustrator draws. Hi-ho-a-biblio, the illustrator draws. And now the spine binds the book. The spine binds the book. The spine binds the book. Hi-ho-a-biblio, the spine binds the book. And now it's time to read. Now it's time to read. Oh, now it's time to read. Hi-ho-a-biblio, now it's time to read. Awesome job, everyone. Amazing singing voices. All right. Let's zoom in with our looking goggles today and take a look at our cover. What do you notice? Yeah, there's some bubbles coming out of here. Our friend has some water goggles on. I notice different types of fish. It looks like we're going to dive deep into the ocean. The title of our book today is Manfish, a story of Jacques Cousteau. Interesting. And it's written by Jennifer Berne and illustrated by Eric Poibret. Oh, and a special thanks to, let's see, our publishers. Chronicle Books for giving us permission to share this story today. Manfish. Interesting. It looks like our hand is parting the ocean there. Some of the seaweed underneath so that we can see. Look at that. Look at how deep we're getting into the water. It says, bubbles rising through the silence of the sea, silvery beads of breath from a man deep, deep down in a strange and shimmering ocean land of swaying plants and fantastic creatures. A manfish swimming, diving into the unknown, exploring underneath worlds no one has ever seen and no one could have imagined. Wow, how exciting. Our story starts many years before in France with a little baby boy born under the summer sun. His parents named him Jacques. From the very beginning, little Jacques loved water. I'm guessing that's him there. The way it felt on his hands, his face, his body, and water made him wonder. He wondered why ships floated, why he floated, and why rocks sink. Oh, how curious. There's some really good questions. One day, Jacques read a story about a man who lived underwater by breathing through a long tube. Jacques tried it and discovered it was impossible. He dreamed that someday he would be able to breathe underwater for real. At night, Jacques dreamed he could fly with the birds among the clouds and his arms stretched out like wings. Jacques spent his days playing, experimenting, and creating. He wrote little books that he illustrated with his own drawings, and he was fascinated by machines. He studied blueprints and built a model of a crane that was as tall as he was and actually worked. Oh, wow. Like you could see his blueprint there, kind of like a map of what he's going to make. His design, for example. So he created a lot of things and they worked, which is even more impressive. Movies fascinated Jacques too. He wanted to know how they were made, how the cameras worked, and how chemicals made pictures appear on the film. Jacques saved his allowance penny by penny until he had enough to buy a small home movie camera. The first thing he did was take it apart and put it back together. Interesting. Then he learned how it was made. Then he began to film everything around him. He put his brother, cousins, parents, and friends in his movies. He dressed up as a villain with a painted-on mustache and made some very villainous films. Jacques was always the star, the director, the writer, and usually the cameraman. Look at some examples of the movies he'd film. When Jacques finished school, he joined the French Navy. His ship sailed all around the world, and everywhere he went, he filmed what he saw. In China, he filmed men catching fish with their bare hands. Oh, wow. They held their breath underwater for many minutes. Jacques wondered what that would be like. Look at that. It looks like we're looking through his lens, through his camera. He was filming everything. One day, at a beach, a friend gave Jacques a pair of goggles with rubber frames and glass to look through. Jacques wore them into the sea. Beneath the water, he was surrounded by silvery green forests of sea plants and fish he had never seen before. Everything was silent and shimmering. It was a whole new world. When he came up, he saw cars, people, buildings, and telephone poles. Once again, he went below into the magical underworld. At that moment, Jacques knew his life was changed forever. His eyes had been opened to the wonders of the sea. What a great big place to explore. Jacques and his friends, Philippe and Didi, began to dive together. They experimented to see how long they could stay underwater and how deep they could go. Oh, I remember playing those games. Jacques created a waterproof case for his camera to film the amazing kingdom he and his friends were exploring beneath the surface. How fun! Oh, and look at them here, going deeper. They made rubber suits to keep themselves warm and flippers to help them kick better. But Jacques wanted to stay down longer than just one breath at a time. Their fins here and their suits to keep them warm. And now he wants to stay down even longer than one breath, so I wonder what he's going to do. He realized he needed to take more air with him, enough air to explore the mysterious depths and vast expanses of the ocean, to swim through the sea as free as a fish. He wanted to become a manfish, and he began to work on just how to do it. How is he going to take more air with him? Oh, we've seen something similar, right? Like a scuba suit. On a warm summer day, Jacques stepped into the blue Mediterranean Sea with his new invention. He called it the Aqua Lung because aqua means water, and our lungs are the part of our body that holds the air we breathe. Below the surface, Jacques swam, glided, and dove. He did flips and somersaults. He stood upside down on one finger and laughed bubbles into the sea. Jacques could breathe beneath the water. Now he could swim across miles of ocean, his body feeling what only scales had felt, his eyes seeing what only fish had seen. The water made him feel like he was flying, just like in his dreams. Jacques had done it. He became a manfish. Wow. Jacques was ready to explore the oceans of the world. He needed a boat and found a big old wooden navy ship named Calypso. In a year, he turned it from a warship into an explorer's ship. Jacques, Philippe, and Didi gathered a crew, their aqua lungs, their hopes, and their dreams, and set off to explore the inside of the sea, to film a world that no one had ever seen before. I love that they're going to explore it, and not just explore it, but share what they've learned and what they've seen with everyone else. All right, it says, on their journeys, they dove deep into a seascape of plants, green and purple prickly plants, red branchy plants, spongy plants, wispy, feathery, swaying plants, slow dancing to the rhythms of the sea. They discovered plants that could feed you, plants that could poison you, plants that looked like fish, and fish that looked like plants. They swam with great whales, hitched rides on sea turtles, and made friends with porpoises with shining eyes and smiling faces. They filmed fierce and frightening sharks, so strange and dangerous, Jacques and his crew had to build cages, not for the sharks, but for themselves, so they could make their movies without being eaten. And they went even deeper, and it says, their cameras captured camouflage scorpion fish, ugly as toads with poisonous spines. Brilliant shining fish, that glowed with colors of emeralds, sapphires, and rubies. Checkerboard fish with red and white cheeks from head to tail. Deep down, they discovered a kingdom of giant rays, fish that fly through the water with wings that swim. They came face to face with the fish as big as a truck, with long fangs, lips like giant tires, and huge saucer eyes. They called it the truckfish. And then on the bottom, they found pink ghost crabs with eyes and long stalks buried so deep in the sand they looked like a garden of eyes. And flute fish with heads like horses, and bodies the shape of tubes sticking out of rocky openings like pencils in a cup. Look at all they discovered. Look really deep into the sea. Everywhere the Calypso went, Jacques and his crew made films of what they saw. Films they played in the movie theaters. Films they played on TV. Millions of people all over the world discovered the wonders of the sea the very first time with Jacques, Philippe, Dee and their adventurous crew. Wow, so before them, we had no idea what the deep, deep sea looks like. After Jacques spent most of his life making movies about the sea, he saw something happening, something shocking. Plants that used to be alive and healthy were being poisoned. Fish were sick and dying. Jacques saw that people, without realizing it, were slowly killing the sea and its creatures by dumping garbage and poisonous chemicals into the ocean he loved so much. Jacques knew what he had to do. He had to make movies to warn people, movies to save the sea. Oh, wow, look at the ocean now compared to when he first went into the ocean. You notice the difference? Yeah, there's not a lot of life here, and it's pretty dark and murky and dirty. There's poison in there. Jacques spoke to presidents, to kings and queens, people all over the earth, asking them to help save our oceans and planet. And he spoke to children. Jacques dreamed that someday it would be you, exploring worlds never seen, never imagined. Whole new worlds, silent and shimmering. Worlds that are now yours to discover, to care for, and to love. And that's the end. There's some more fish over here. And some extra activities that I'll share on our website. What an amazing story about Jacques Cousteau. And I love that we were able to explore the deep sea with him without leaving our homes at all. And it's also alarming to see what we're doing to the ocean. So we got to do our part to make sure that we can protect our planet and our ocean and our seas so we can enjoy it for many more years to come. All right, friends, I'm so glad you were here to join me today for Story Station, because whenever we read together and share stories and talk about what we've read, we continue to be deeper, stronger thinkers. If you want to hear the story again or any of the stories that we've read together so far, go to Words Alive Story Station. Until next time, bye.